The biggest question for me is how much progress the guys made this offseason in being a team. All right, that's first and foremost because with the veterans returning, we should have leadership. So I want to see the chemistry, and then positionally, just who's going to emerge, at the corner position. I think that's probably the position there where there's the most unknowns. We definitely got a healthy pool of guys to compete. It's just a function of them having an opportunity during fall camp.
You have a couple of players in Kobe Pace and Malachi Fields who seem to have all the makings to be superstars. When you look at those two, what, I don't know if holding them back is right, what's missing? What do they need to take the next step?
Just take advantage of the opportunity. I think talent is not a question. They're both great character young men. It's right in front of you. You got to go take it, and they've been challenged. And Malachi is. I think sometimes when you look at Malachi, you see how big and how strong he is, and then you want to kind of impose your own personality on him, like how you think his personality should be. But he's been productive. He's made a lot of plays, and but he's a mild mannered guy. But what I have seen is he's taken hold of that room, that receiver room, inserted more leadership from a vocal standpoint. So I'm excited to see him take that next step and really just have the mindset of being a dominant player. And I think you challenge them all the time, but they got to make that decision, both of them, because they got the skill set. It's just okay. Is this now the time to take advantage of that or create that mindset day in and day out because they're capable?
Greg and Jerry. How do your transfer tight ends enhance or add to what you want to do offensively, what you can do offensively this season?
Yeah, I think a little bit different skill set than what we've had the last couple years. I think they have the ability to stretch the field from that position, create some matchups, and then they got the size to be able to come in and do their job in the run game. So I think athletically, a little bit of an upgrade. Both of them are graduates. So you're also bringing in maturity. They also have perspectives outside the program to be able to share with the guys, and probably that position group. I've seen the biggest change just with Sage and Tyler coming in. Won the competition between those two because you got competition, but then also their experiences outside the program they're able to share with the younger guys, and they've really gravitated towards that. And then really excited at the opportunity for Sackett to come back. Sackett and so now you have three veteran guys that you let battle for the job, and then even if the younger guys can kind of develop, some of them physically are still working on their bodies to get to a position to where they can do everything that's asked of them, but really excited about the leadership and the competition that's coming out of that room. Extremely critical, mission critical, as I like to say to the staff. It's mission critical because you win in the trenches, and I've said that, and I firmly believe that. Yeah, regardless of all the great skill players that I was fortunate to be around in my career, if you don't have those guys up front, and really, I think the next step is the cohesion. Can those five guys, whoever it is, cohesively play together? Because when you go back and you evaluate in the off season, a lot of times it's not necessarily what your opponent did; it's what you didn't do, and that's that cohesion and that position, the offensive line, all five guys. You think about. We were talking about it at other positions. There's sometimes somebody that can make you right, right? There's not many opportunities for somebody to make you right at that position. So it's mission critical for us with the quarterbacks and the competition there. There is no competition if the guys up front, don't give them a chance to compete. So not trying to put all the pressure on them, but for us to get to where we want to go, the offensive line and the defensive line, in my opinion, have to lead the way because that's where the game is really won. If you can win in the trenches, then you have an opportunity on the perimeter to do the things that the skill guys can do. Without them, the skill guys they look good and they got a bunch of potential and talent, but they can't perform because the big guys up front don't give them a chance.
Jackie, then Mike.
I just wanted to hear your thoughts on the updated scholarship limits and how does that change how you approach things and just your thoughts on Virginia.
Yeah, it's hard to know what's accurate, right? In this day and age, so many things are coming out. I'm really waiting for Dr. Williams to tell me what that number is. I know there's been some preliminary reports on what's projected, we still don't know. And so what I've challenged the staff is we got to plan and prepare, but I don't want to spend a bunch of time on a bunch of uncertainty, right? Because we know what we got in front of us. Um, I know that Dr. Williams and President Ryan and Jim at the ACC level, they're going to give us every opportunity to compete and be successful. And then as coaches, we have to understand the new model, and then we got to adjust to it. My only concern is player safety. All right, player safety from a numbers standpoint. Make sure that we have the adequate numbers to be able to practice safely, play safely, so that the student athletes are able uh, to perform and not endure more exposure, so to speak. So I know there was a number that was circulated, and it may end on that number. The number that was put out there is not a number that's new to college football, because it used to be the number. The 105 used to be the number, but I'm still waiting to see what the actual number is, and trusting that the leadership is gonna give us the best opportunity to be successful all the way around. And that's not just on the scoreboard, because we're talking about young people and their bodies, and their livelihood, and their long-term livelihood. That's one thing that I think gets lost at times. And we all choose to play the game. Those who play football choose to play the game. But man, you put your body through a lot. And I want to make sure that we keep that in perspective as we adapt to the changes in the model.
Tony, a year ago in Charlotte, a lot of coaches told me they were shocked and upset about the amount of tampering, guys who were not in the portal being kind of coaxed into the portal. I went back to those same coaches this year in Charlotte, and they sort of shrugged like, we just accepted there's nothing you can do about it. How prevalent is tampering? How big a concern is it? Do you think there's a solution? What are your views on it?
Yeah, great question. One thing here, I know we don't tamper. We're going to recruit the right way, and so we're not going to communicate with a young man until he's actually in the portal. Also, we're not a portal first program in terms of recruiting, so we're not in the battle line, so to speak, as much as others. Would I be lying if I said that tampering is not taking place? But I also, my job is to coach ball, right, and recruit the right way. And I tell the assistant coaches, if you have something, turn it in. If you don't, or you're not willing to turn it in, then we're not going to spend time crying about it and worrying about it. We got way too many things to focus on. But I do believe it's become kind of a acceptable practice, if that makes sense. And that's one of the unintended consequences of the business model. But you have a choice. Each coach, each program has a choice as to how they're going to approach it. And for us, we're not going to tamper. We're going to do it the right way. And our guys on our roster being tampered with, I'd have to imagine that they are, but it hasn't gotten to the point to where it's an issue. Right, so if it's not to that level, then I'm not wasting time, trying to chase down those ghosts. But if you have something, I tell our coaches, man, turn it in.
Greg and Frank, how does Chris Tyree change the potential of what you can do in the return game?
Chris Tyree, man, brings speed that I don't know if I've seen, in my career. I mean, the guy is extremely fast. He's a world class speed kind of guy. If he wanted to go run track, I think he could, and he really focused on it. I think he could be, running this month, so to speak. But I think he brings that element to it. He's an experienced guy. And for us, really, the challenge is we got to do a better job of giving him some room. Right, that's where we've fallen short, because I believe that we've had guys back there, if given an opportunity, man, they can change field position. But I think he has an element that if we can get him going and spring him, I think he has the juice to be able to take it the distance, and he's experienced enough to know to make good decisions. I think that's another thing in the return game that sometimes gets overlooked is good decisions, and we let the ball hit the ground way too many times. And a good returner, he's going to keep the ball off the ground because he understands the importance of field position. And then he's going to take chances, calculated chances, right? He's going to know when he needs to concede and fair catch, and then when he has an opportunity to return it. And we're excited about what he's shown us thus far as he possesses, those abilities to protect field position, but then also change field position and potentially score because of the speed that he has.
Coach, speaking of fast, down in Charlotte, your players all commented about getting off to a fast start this season. Would you like to address that?
Yeah, fast start out the gate. I mean, it was a one-game season. So if you have that approach, if it's a one-game season, then you want to win that game. So you better have a sense of urgency. You better start fast. But that also, translates into how we want to attack and approach a game. We want to come out the gates and set the tempo. Be aggressive, play fast, and then the next step is win the middle eight, and then finish in the fourth quarter. That's kind of our approach to the game. But we want to get off to a fast start, create momentum, and see can you maintain that momentum, and then find a way at the end of the season to elevate it to that next level. And to me that's the championship mindset that we're trying to establish.
Marshall, right? Marshall, Jackie, and then Chris.
Coach, two different players, two different types of quarterbacks that you got in competition for that position right now. What do you like about each of those guys and their abilities to let you lead?
Well, the first thing is both of them have proven that they can win, in the ACC versus very good talent and good teams in the ACC. So that's what you like. They both, have displayed that ability. They're different from a skill set standpoint in that, Tony in his career so far has been more of a pocket guy. But I think we also saw that when he wants to and needs to, he can impact the game with his legs. And AC's been more of a I'd say a true spread kind of guy in that, he's got the arm, got the ability to beat you from the pocket, but he's really, really good at, off schedule plays. And so that's probably the biggest difference between the two. Just, their approach to the position. But and I'm really excited about both of those guys and their opportunity this fall camp to compete. And I tell you what, the beauty of my job is that you have an opportunity to learn from young people, through your pursuit of helping them develop. And those two young men have taught this staff and me personally, a lot about what it's really all about, and how to embrace competition, how to find value in your competitor, so to speak, but also do it in a healthy way because you know your teammates. And to watch those guys battle and see them develop. They both have done a really good job this offseason in changing their bodies. We had some transition right before the winter with one of our strength coaches, and then Coach Schmo, took over working with the quarterbacks and did a phenomenal job and maintained the progress, because prior to that we had made a lot of progress with some of the auxiliary aspects of quarterback development. But I thought Smo incorporated some more of the strength training with those guys. Their bodies look really good, which gives them some more confidence, which I think you'll be able to see more of the athleticism out of Tony because he just feels good about his body, feels that he can run and take a shot and be able to get up. And then AC has always had confidence, but now that his shirt's fitting a little bit tighter, there's even more to it, and it's just been fun to watch those guys and how they've competed. But the biggest thing for me is they both got to be a quarterback. Right, regardless of what their skill sets are, they got to be a quarterback. A quarterback's got to be a game manager, right? He's got to be a game impactor. He's got to lead. He's got to be the example setter. He's got to live his life in such a way, as to command the respect of his teammates, so that he can go out and be in position to let his physical talents show in the end.
In the beginning, you mentioned how you want to see Quinn merge at corner.
Yeah.
What do you see from that group and just the secondary? What do you like leading into tomorrow?
So the first thing would be, you're returning Jonas, which is, documented one of the best safeties in the league, and AC's returning. So we had a veteran that we didn't have last year that's coming back, and Excited about Elijah Gaines is a year older. That was battling injury last year. That gives us some more depth and competition. Malcolm's got another year under his belt in the system. He's a very versatile guy that can play corner, can play nickel, and has the skill set and the mindset to be able to play both of those positions. So he's returning, and Keandre, I think we all saw flashes of him at corner as a freshman. So now he's got an offseason under his belt, and Jam Jackson has come in and really transformed his body. Came in at about 168, 69 pounds. He's up to about 185. 188, looks really good and long and athletic. That gives you some competition there. Kempton is a guy that's played a lot of football. He started a bunch of football games at the college level that'll be able to compete. Kendron, Smith is another guy that's a veteran guy that's going to be able to give you some versatility at corner and at nickel. Corey Thomas has probably come in and impressed everybody the most of anybody that we brought in this off season. I mean, he's just a big, long body that looks backer-ish, but is fluid and moves like a secondary guy. Aiden Ryan's another year older. You got Micah Gaffney, another year older. So you got a ton of guys, right, that are older, a little bit more experienced, and there's opportunity for competition. So that's what I'm excited to see. So as I said, I think there's definitely a great pool of candidates. Now it's just a function of them going out there and putting it on film to give the coaching staff the confidence to be able to put them out there on Saturdays to compete. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Right. So yeah, year one, man, I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to keep too many notes. So then the first thing was now I got to delegate, right, and understand that as a head coach, I have to empower the people around me to be able to do their jobs. And so that's one area. And then throughout the course of practice, when I'm out here, making sure that as I'm teaching the situations in practice, I'm also thinking the situations in practice. And then also off-season wise, and prep during the week, taking advantage of the statistical information that's in front of us on a daily basis. And I think there's also going to be some learning curves this year because we now have the coach-to-player communication. We also have the tablets, so we're going to have to practice that. And that'll be another one, kind of like the first year. We got to figure out the most efficient way to use those things so that they are an advantage and not a distraction. But the way that I get my reps is first through self-evaluation and evaluating areas and being honest with myself on where I need to improve, using the practice the practice opportunities to try and recreate the game, just as we challenge our players. Like, you got to approach practice like it's the game. So I have to think the game while I'm in practice as I'm teaching the team, and then utilize the resources, throughout the course of the week to prep for the game, to be able to make the most informed and best decisions come game day.
Nathan and Mike.
With Cam, Chico, Jameer, Ben all coming back this year for the last season, I'm curious what kind of statement that makes to you about the buy-in of these players, and what kind of representative are they of the players at large and the buy-in?
Right. So three of the four that you mentioned were guys that I didn't recruit, that were here before I got here, and they had opportunities too. So we're talking about guys that got NFL potential, NFL evaluations, which means they could have went out and they could have tested the market from an NIL standpoint. To me, it just says that we're doing the right things. If you got young men of that caliber in this day and age that are graduates that can move on, that could have easily went in the NIL market and done better. Just being frank, they could have done better with the way things are set up now. It just says that one, they bought into the culture, and then they want to be a part of it. They want to see Virginia football do well, and they understand that in order for us to do well, it's going to take guys like them. And so they set the example, they set the tone, and I'm excited to see when we hit the grass what they've been able to do with the team, because from essentially the end of spring ball up until we start fall camp, it's really them. It's them and the strength coaches, right? We've had a couple of days where we've been able to get on the grass with them, but it's still not, truly football. There's some restrictions from contact and organization wise. So I'm excited to see, because then they do their voluntary stuff. We're not allowed to watch it. We're not allowed to be there. So it's gonna be fun to see, and knowing those guys like Cam, like Cam is an energetic, fun guy, but he's also grown too, and so they also saw the value in coming back, that they're going to be able to give a lot to the program, but the program is also going to be able to give back to them in preparation for life and for the next level.
Coach, a year ago, you got so much production from Malik and Malachi,
Mhm.
which is great. This year, it seems like the receiving core is maybe designed to spread the ball around a little more. How do you anticipate the offense maybe changing a little bit with more options?
One of the things that Coach Des says all the time is, man, the ball's going to find the open guy, right? The ball's going to find the open guy. But I think you also have to take that in context. You got to have distribution amongst the field to be able to find the open guy, right? So when you design a play, right, you got to have a guy at every spot. Right, so in order for it to open up the way that Coach Kitchens is referring. So I think the difference here is now we have more experienced guys, right, that can go make plays. So you don't have to necessarily strictly game plan for one guy, or the quarterbacks don't have to have this feeling like I have to go to this guy regardless of he's the third guy in the progression, right? And I'm gonna skip 1, 2. No, I'm going to this guy. That's not how you want to operate. Right? You want to be able to operate and flow as the design of the concepts are intended. And so what I think is, you have, from the receiving standpoint, you have more competitive depth, right, which is going to allow the quarterbacks to be able to distribute the ball a little bit better. And then also other positions, your tight end position. We project it to be, more dynamic in the passing game, which is going to help from a distribution standpoint. Whereas, last year we were limited in some spots. Depth was kind of a challenge for us. We had some young guys growing up on the job, but I think with the addition of the veteran guys that we brought in at receiver from the portal, and then also another year of training, and I'm most excited about all of these guys truly having an off season. Right, I know we were documenting that we're going into year 3, but I feel like this is the first true off season that we've had without any kind of disruption or other things that we gotta truly focus on. So I'm excited to see, and I think that will help from a developmental standpoint as well. And so I think to truly answer your question, I think we have more viable options to be able to distribute the ball. And so, but if it turns into a situation like it was with Malik, I mean, you're not going, like, you're a fool as a coach if it's working to to go away from it. But at the same time too, you're realistic in understanding that it's hard to make a living, like that. And when I think about my experiences as a coordinator, when you had guys all over the field, man, it put a lot of pressure, on the defense, and so you didn't have to necessarily design for one person, right? You were able to distribute the ball, and it helped you to stay on schedule, in rhythm, be explosive, and really dictate the pace of play, because you could put pressure on the defense.
We're gonna take our last question from Greg.
How do you find the balance with Kobe Pace during training camp? He's your top guy back, and you need him in November, and when you play some meaningful games, how do you balance how many reps to give him versus how much rest to give him during training?
Great question. With the running back position, one, we got competition, right? So we got some young guys that deserve opportunities. So you got to make sure that all of them are given the reps that they need to display what they can do from a competition standpoint. But with that position, with the violence of the position and the length of the season, you got to be smart with all of them, understanding that he is the elder statesman and he's got some miles, some tread has come off his tire. So we got to be smart there. But at the same time too, he's got to be ready to go. And I think he also, in his mind, he's wanting to be a workhorse, right? And he's capable, but he's got to go make that happen, right? That's something that well, we could try to force, but he's got to be ready to be the workhorse. So he's had a great offseason. You've seen him from a leadership standpoint develop and emerge. Biggest thing for Kobe is to stay healthy, right, and take care of his body. And so what he has to do too is twofold. We have to be smart with the reps and make sure he's in shape. He's solidified his spot at the top. If that's where he wants to stay, he's got to prove that. But then he's also got to spend time in that building, right, taking care of his body, especially at that position because of the violence associated with it. And they'll determine how it goes. But I'm excited about X Brown. I think we all saw X Brown as a freshman, and we're like, man, this guy's got a chance. And then he's banged up last year, and I think Noah Vaughn's gonna surprise some people. Man, don't sleep on old Greaseball now. Jack Greasy, don't sleep on Greasy. Now he was out in the spring with the shoulder and a knee, but man, he's gonna push. And then we got the big bruiser and Dante, and really just let those five guys go compete and let the chips fall where they fall. But you would anticipate that with his experience, Kobe would lead the pack, but he's got to go earn it.